Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmritam yenaha tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. First of all, offer my millions of obeisances to lotus feet of Asmade Guru Pad Padma, Nitila Prishta Jat Guru Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Gosvāmī Maharaj, Trendi Swami Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Dandi Maharaj, Namnishta Santasya Niruddas Prabhuji, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, please accept my humble obeisances. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 4, text 42. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam rutstham jnanasinatmanam chittatvainam samshayam yogam atishthostishta bharatam. So Bhagavad-gītā, sarvopaniṣado gāvo, dogdhā, gopāla-nandanaḥ, pārtho, vatsaḥ, su-dhīr, bhoktā, dugdhaṁ, gītāmṛtaṁ, mahat. So Bhagavad-gītā is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. Tasmāt ajnana sambhutam rustam jnana asinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam uttishta bharatam. Tasmāt, therefore, Bharata, O descendant of Bharat, Jnana asina, with the weapon of knowledge, chitva, slashing, samshayam, the doubt, atmanaha, rutstham, situated in your heart, ajnana sambhutam, born of ignorance, atistha, take shelter, atistha, take shelter, enam yogam, of this yoga, and uttishta, arise. Therefore, O Bharat, with the sword of jnana, slash this doubt in your heart, which is born of ignorance, and take shelter of nishkam karma yoga and prepare for battle. Shri Bhagavan concludes this chapter with this shloka beginning with Tasmat ajnana. Rustha refers to cutting the doubt in the heart, chitva. Yoga means taking shelter of nishkam karma yoga, and atishtha means be ready for the battle. Of all the processes recommended for attaining mukti, jnana is glorified here, and nishkam karma is the only means to attain jnana. This is the essence of this chapter. Thus ends the Bhavanuvad of the Sarartha-varshini Tika of Śrīla Vishwanath Thakur on the chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, which gives pleasure to the bhaktas and is accepted by all saintly persons. Sarartha-varshini Prakashika Vritti, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this chapter gives instructions on two divisions of Sanatana Yoga, the eternal yoga system. The first is Jada Dravyamaya division, which consists of mundane rituals or the sacrifice of material possessions. The second is the Atma Yathatma Rupa Chinmaya division, or knowledge of the self and of Bhagavan. When the Jada Dravamaya division is performed separately, it simply becomes karma. Those who are bound in this division are known as karma jada, deeply engrossed in mundane enjoyment. However, those who perform jada karma, mundane rituals, with the sole purpose of attaining spiritual advancement, are yukta, or properly situated. When we specifically deliberate on the true nature of spiritual activities, we understand that there are two aspects. One is knowledge of Jiva Tattva, the other is knowledge of Bhagavat Tattva. Only those who experience and realize Bhagavat Tattva attain the essence of Atma Yathatma, knowledge of the real nature of this Atma, which is to be Sri Krishna's servant. This experience is perfected by realization of the transcendental birth and activities of Bhagavan and of the Jiva's eternal association with him. This subject is described in the beginning of this chapter. Bhagavan himself is the first instructor of this Nitya Dharma, because the Jiva has become bound to inert matter by the defect of his own intelligence. Bhagavan descends by the prowess of his Chit Shakti, and by giving instruction on his tattva, he makes the jiva eligible to participate in his lila. Those who say that the body, birth and activities of Bhagavan are products of Maya are extremely foolish. People attain me according to the degree of purity, knowledge of my tattva, with which they worship me. All the activities of the karmaka yogis are termed yajna. The various types of yajna in the world, such as Daiva yajna, Brahmacharya yajna, Grihmedha yajna, Sanyama yajna, Ashtanga yoga yajna, Tapo yajna, Dravya yajna, Swadhyaya yajna, and Varnashram yajna all constitute karma. The only useful factor which is to be sought after in all these yajnas is the conscious part, Atma Yathatma, or knowledge of the real nature of the Atma. Doubt is the greatest enemy of this Tattva Jnana. A person who is endowed with Shraddha and who takes instructions on this Tattva from one who is Tattvavid, thus realizes the self and can dispel all his doubts. As long as one has affinity for the material world, one should take shelter of Nishkam Karma Yoga in order to achieve the stage of Atma Yathatma. Thus ends the Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vritti by Sri Śrīmad-Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj on the 4th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhagavad-gītā. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Tasmad Ajnana Sambhutam Rustam Jnana Sinatmana Chitvainam Samshayam Yogam Attishthottishta Bharatam Tasmat Ajnana Sambhutam Rustam Jnana Sitadmana Chitvam Samshayam Yogam Attishthottishta Bharatam. Tasmat, therefore, Ajnana Sambhutam, born of ignorance, Rutstam, situated in the heart, Jnana of knowledge, Asina, by the weapon, Atmanaha, of the self, Chitva, cutting off, Enam, this, Samshayam, doubt, Yogam, in yoga, Atishtha, be situated, Uttishta, stand up to fight, Bharat, or descendant of Bharat. Therefore, the doubts which have risen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharat, stand and fight. The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two divisions of sacrificial actions. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions. The other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not doted for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifice with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are all divided into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of Bhagavad-gītā as it is can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord, and such understanding is beneficial, for such a person can easily understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord are discussed by the Supreme Lord Himself. One who does not understand the instructions of the Gita is faithless, and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as the eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principles of Kṛṣna consciousness. Kṛṣna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifices to a demigod, sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, in devotional, in household life, in controlling the senses, in practicing mystic yoga, in penance, in foregoing the material possessions, in studying the Vedas, and in partaking the social institution called Varnashram Dharma. All these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action. But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad-gītā. But one who doubts the authority of Kṛṣna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad-gītā or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal, and he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad-gītā have come down to the earthly kingdom. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad-gītā as it is expressed in the Gita itself and be aware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person and His activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of the Bhagavad-gītā. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 4th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhagavad-gītā in the matter of transcendental knowledge. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Kṛṣna Consciousness. Outwardly performing all actions but inwardly renouncing their fruits, the wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision and bliss. Text 1. Arjuna vacha sannyasam karmana Kṛṣna punaryogam cha samshasi yashre toyarekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna vacha, Arjuna said, sannyasam, renunciation, karmanam, of all activities, Kṛṣna, O Kṛṣna, punaha, again, yogam, devotional service, cha, also, shamshasi, you are praising, yat, which, shreya, is more beneficial, etayo, of these two, ekam, one, tat, that, may, unto me, bruhi, please tell, sunishchitam, definitely. Arjuna said, O Kṛṣna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. In the 2nd chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material world were explained. How to get out of this material engagement by buddhi yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the 3rd chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the 4th chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the 4th chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Kṛṣna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyas or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity, because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. His inquiry is therefore whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai Radharamana Hari Govinda Jai Jai. Karma Sannyas Yoga. Yoga through the renunciation of action. Shloka 1. Arjuna Vacha Sannyasam Karmanam Kṛṣṇa Punaryogam Cha Samshasi Yashre Tayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishitam. Arjuna said, Kṛṣṇa, Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna said, Kṛṣṇa, O Kṛṣṇa, Samshasi, you are first praising sannyasam, renunciation, karmanam, of actions, cha, and punaha, thereafter, yogam, karma yoga, bruhi, please tell me, sunishchitam, very clearly, tad ekam, that one path, etayo, of these two, yat which is shreya, auspicious for me. Arjuna said, O Kṛṣṇa, after first praising karma sannyas, the renunciation of action, you are again describing nishkam karma yoga, action offered to Bhagavan without attachment to its fruit. Therefore, please tell me definitely which of these two is auspicious for me. Karma has been described as being superior to jnana, to encourage ignorant people to perform karma properly, and thus ultimately to achieve unswerving perfection in jnana. This 5th chapter explains knowledge of the absolute truth, tat padartha, and the characteristics of those who have an even-tempered nature. After hearing the last 2 shlokas of the previous chapter, Arjuna is now doubtful. He thinks that Kṛṣṇa has contradicted himself, and in the shloka beginning with the words sannyasam karmanam, he poses a question. In the shloka Yoga Sannyasta, Gītā 4.41, you have spoken about karma sannyas, which appears when jnana is produced by the performance of nishkam karma yoga. Again in the shloka, tasmat ajnana, Gītā 4.42, you have spoken about the nishkam karma yoga. But karma sannyas, renunciation of action, and nishkam karma yoga, the yoga of selfless action, have opposite natures like moving and non-moving entities. It is not possible to perform them simultaneously. Should a jnani perform karma sannyas or nishkam karma yoga? I have not understood your intention on this subject, and I am asking you to please tell me for certain which of these two is auspicious for me. Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vritti. In the 2nd chapter, Sri Kṛṣṇa instructed Arjuna how to perform nishkam karma yoga in order to attain jnana, which dispels ignorance. In the 3rd chapter, he explained that when one has attained atma-jnana, knowledge of the self, there is no need to engage in karma, prescribed duties, because karma yoga is included in jnana yoga. It is a sign of ignorance to consider jnana and karma to be separate. After concluding this, Bhagavan Shri Kṛṣṇa said in the 4th chapter that to attain jnana nishtha, steadiness in knowledge, which is the means to obtain atma-jnana, it is appropriate to first adopt nishkam karma yoga. Arjuna knows that these topics are very difficult to grasp, and he is inquiring from Kṛṣṇa if he is in ignorance, so that common people may easily understand. Initially, Kṛṣṇa declared karma sannyas or jnana yoga to be superior. However, he is again giving instructions on nishkam karma yoga. Arjuna has said it is impossible for one person to follow both of these instructions at the same time because they are contradictory, just as it is impossible to be both stationary and in motion, or for there is to be light and darkness in the same place. Please tell me clearly which of these two will bring me auspiciousness. This is Arjuna's 5th question. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripasindhubhasya पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो